Hey there, how's it going? My name is Zach, and thank you so much for checking out the Temple Project. In this video, I'm going to be discussing why the Temple Project is being started, what the Temple Project is, and who is involved, who is for, and how you can become a part of or involved. So let's start with the why. And I'd like to explain the why with a couple questions. Number one is, if you're a man, uh, are you stressed out on a daily or weekly basis? Second question is, do you ever feel like you're lost or you've gone through periods of life, or maybe you're currently in a period of life where you're struggling and you don't feel like you have a support system, or you just feel like you're kind of aimlessly going through your day-to-day life? The next thing is, do you have people that you can trust fully? Do you have other men who support you no matter what, who know everything about you, and who you see face to face on a weekly or even very least a monthly basis? If you said no to one of these, or most likely all of them, then you kind of have an idea of why I'm starting the Temple Project. You see, I want to kind of go into a little bit about my story, how I got here, and then that'll kind of move us into the current day and where we're going in the future. So, I have always I guess I'll start from the very beginning. I grew up and my dad wasn't around a lot. I grew up with my mom and my aunt and my sister, so a lot of women. And I was kind of that person who was always I was always the more calm one, reserved, I guess you could say that. But really, the more important thing I want to talk about here is I grew up pretty much without a dad. I mean, my dad was kind of around, but it was very hit or miss. And I don't really I definitely didn't know how much that impacted me until this last year of 2024, when I kind of got to do some work around that. But, fast forward, I got into drinking and doing a lot of drugs in my teenage years. I ended up getting sober at the ripe old age of 21. When I got sober, I got into Alcoholics Anonymous, where I really kind of grew up for the first time in Alcoholics Anonymous. And I had I'm really grateful for the experience I had. I had a lot of friends and family kind of around me. I built my whole life in AA. And it was one of those things where it was cool because I had a support system of people who were eager to be supportive and who were eager to help. And, I had endless opportunities where I live to be face to face and in interaction with these people on a daily and weekly basis, which was a really powerful thing for me. And that really helped me to grow as an individual. So what happened? So fast forward down the road, get into my career, I get married, I have kids, and I kind of disconnect from AA. And for better or for worse, there were some times where I was kind of in AA and I felt like maybe I wasn't growing in a lot of areas that I wanted to. And I think that's just because that is for one thing, but it doesn't solve everything, right? And, I'll say that I kind of didn't have any really strong kind of men or anything in my life to really help me to grow and continually be there as a resource for me, as I kind of progress as a human and as a man, right? And so, I own my business. Fast forward, make it through, COVID, 24 rolls around, and everything was going great, right? Like, again, I have a healthy family, I have 2 kids, I have a great marriage, and what did you know? Life throws a curveball at me, and 2024 seemed like anything and everything that I feel like was my support system, or everything that I knew as it was, kind of came tumbling down and really kind of fell apart. I lost nearly all my financial worth. I, went through extreme bouts of depression and just feeling like life was numb, and anger and rage and all these different things. And, so I've always been someone who's sought out, at least since I got sober, somebody who sought out kind of ways to progress and to be kind of a better version of myself, right? And so I worked with tons of therapists, expensive coaches. I spent tens of thousands of dollars on programs, books, courses, again, coaches and therapists, doctors, all sorts of things, right? But nothing ever really kind of got to the core issue of what I needed, I felt like. And the beauty of it is I did learn a lot. And, this kind of puts me to where we're at today. And one of the biggest things that I feel like was missing for me is that in-person connection. Now, I'm going to say this, and I don't want this to scare people off, but it might, to be honest. But I also want you to know that, this isn't something that is, I'll just say it because this is something that really helped me and really kind of pushed me to where I'm at kind of right now. During this whole tough time, I fell into kind of going back and getting into faith, really kind of for the first time for me. Started going to church, and I found my God. I found something that works for me, and that was a really kind of catalyst moment, because up until that point, all my things that I depended on were of human making, and even the God or higher power I'd found in AA wasn't sufficient enough to guide me kind of long term, right? And so for me, getting into faith and getting back into church was one of those things that was kind of the key piece that served as a foundation for me to move into the next thing that I needed, which is in-person, strong human relationships as well. So spirituality, faith, God is the foundation, the core, but that is great, but we are human, and I believe we're social beings, and I believe as men especially, we're not necessarily as good at public connecting as a lot of women might be. It's kind of just what I found through this last year of just going through a lot of different things in terms of masculinity and just men in general. And there's not a lot of good spaces that are easily accessible for men, right? Like you can't just go, again, I started going to church, and I found it hard to kind of just get involved, especially with people my age, that really kind of, seems like there's these barriers, right? Now, I'm sure if I continue, and I am going to continue to put that effort in, but still, like having something that is meant specifically for men to connect, gather, interact in a space where they can be held accountable, they can be trusted, they can trust, and continue to grow and be pushed by other men is something that is hard to find, but vital, at least for me. And so in comes the Temple Project, which in its current stage is in the process of becoming a nonprofit. And the vision is to be something that bridges the gap between men and the health resources that they're missing, right? In the industries of fitness, mental health, recovery, coaching, whatever it might be, all those resources that are out there that maybe are kind of hard to piece together for certain individuals. As someone who's been in the health industry for about 10 years, and as somebody who's really pursued a lot of this stuff on my own, I feel like I have a lot of knowledge around some of those resources. And so my mission and the mission of the Temple Project is really to help men and bridge that gap for those resources, right? And to create spaces where we can connect and be with one another and help one another grow in a masculine and positive way. And so that's what the Temple Project is. And it is driven in the morals of faith in God. And with that, that is driving me and propelling me in this vision and mission to help other guys who might be in the same situation as me, or maybe want to prevent that, or maybe they're still going through it, But either way, I feel compelled to do this. And so really kind of how it's starting is doing pop-up events at different gyms and health facilities and hosting events where we bring awareness, but then also hold weekly in-person meetings where we can gather, connect, work on becoming better versions of ourselves and hold each other accountable and help each other to grow. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, if that sounds like something that might intrigue you, you want to learn more, you can go to our Facebook page, which is the Temple Project on Facebook and the Temple Blueprint on Instagram. If you click on the call to action button that's on there, it'll fill out a form, and my work phone number is on there as well, so you can always call or text me directly, and I will help to get you into contact and get you into the process and help you get the support that you're looking for. And so anyways, hopefully this helps, and hopefully this drives home for a couple people. If at the end of the day I can help at least a couple people to avoid some of the hardships I had to go through, or at least to get through some of that a little bit quicker, then that's a win. And so anyways, again, my name is Zach. This is the Temple Project. If you're interested in learning more, go to the Facebook page, fill out the contact form, or give me a call or text. All the info is on the page, and we will talk to you soon. All right, have a good one.